Michael arrived home after night had settled over the neighborhood. It was a quiet street in Brookline, just outside Boston, where porch lights stayed on and neighbors quietly noticed everything. He came back tired, shoulders tight, believing that once he opened the door, he would finally be able to breathe. Before he reached the lock, something stopped him. A suitcase leaned against the porch railing, then a black trash bag tied in a hurry. Finally, his shoes lined up neatly by the door, placed there with a care that felt cold, as if they no longer belonged inside. Michael froze. He told himself there had to be a simple explanation: cleaning, rearranging, some misunderstanding he could laugh about later. Then the door opened before he knocked. Emily stood there holding a glass of wine. She was smiling, confident, glowing in a way he had not seen in years. Her eyes shined with excitement, like someone who had just crossed an invisible finish line. And she had. She spoke without lowering her voice, said the deal was signed, a massive contract, the biggest of her career. Her words carried down the porch, mixing with laughter coming from inside the house, not his laughter. Michael looked from the bags back to her, asked what all this meant. Emily took a slow breath and answered calmly, the kind of calm that cuts deeper than anger. She said she had made a decision, said it the way someone approves a final report, explained that the marriage no longer fit the life she was building, that he had grown comfortable, that he thought too small, that he had become a limitation. Michael tried to speak, but she kept going, said the contract proved she never needed him, that everything she achieved was because of her own drive, that she had outgrown the man who came home exhausted and proud of modest wins. She asked him to take his things and leave that night. No arguing, no long conversations, no scenes. A curtain shifted across the street. Someone whispered his name, getting it wrong. A car slowed as it passed. Michael asked quietly if there was someone else. Emily paused for a moment, shrugged, said ambition required alignment, said he would understand someday. What Emily did not know was that minutes earlier, that contract only existed because of Michael. For months, he had reviewed projections in silence, corrected serious errors, and warned her about risks she chose to ignore. He did it after his own workday ended, sitting at the kitchen table with an old laptop balanced on a chair. Years before, Michael had made a choice. He walked away from privilege, from influence, from a last name that still opened doors in rooms where futures were decided. He wanted to prove that love did not need leverage, that respect did not come from power. Emily stepped back inside. The door closed, the lock turned, the porch light went dark. Michael stood there longer than he should have, listening to laughter inside a house that no longer recognized his name. He picked up the suitcase carefully, breathed slowly so he would not fall apart right there, and walked down the steps, unaware that this night was not the end of his story, only the moment it went quiet. Michael had nowhere to go. He placed the suitcase in the trunk and drove without direction through the quiet streets outside Boston. Traffic lights felt slower. The city stretched wider as if the night itself had decided not to rush for him. He pulled over a few miles later, rested his forehead against the steering wheel and breathed slowly so his chest would not collapse inward. His phone buzzed, messages of congratulations. None were meant for him. He locked the screen and let the moment pass. He slept in the car that night, reclined the seat just enough to rest his neck. Morning light slipped through the windshield before the alarm he forgot to set. No missed calls, no apology, only a bank alert reminding him how thin his balance had become. He washed his face in the sink of a gas station restroom, practiced looking normal in the mirror. At work, no one was fooled. The security guard asked if he was all right. A coworker joked that he looked rough, half amused, half curious. By noon, the story had already traveled. People whispered about the deal, about Emily's success, about the separation. Every retelling grew less accurate. What no one knew was that Michael had lived a different life once, before the modest apartment, before the quiet job, before choosing to disappear into normality. His father's name still carried weight in closed offices, private flights, boardrooms where decisions changed lives, access most people never saw. Michael walked away from all of it to prove something to himself, that love did not need advantage, that presence mattered more than power. He met Emily during that year. She liked that he listened, that he did not compete. She told friends he kept her grounded. Michael told himself that was enough. During the months leading to the contract, Michael worked double shifts of life. After his own job, he opened his laptop at the kitchen table and reviewed projections, rewrote strategy, and flagged compliance issues she dismissed as details. When Emily asked how he knew so much, he said he read a lot. She laughed and called it cute. The only line he crossed came weeks before the signing. He called his father, asked for a technical review, nothing more. His father agreed under one condition: 1 full year with no help, no protection, no safety net. Michael accepted without hesitation. Now that year felt heavy. He asked building security if he could stay late and slept several nights on a couch in the break room. The cleaning staff pretended not to see him. One morning, a woman from accounting left a folded note on his desk. She wrote that she had a spare couch if he needed it. Michael accepted. One night turned into 3, then into a quiet routine. She left early. He folded the blanket before she woke. They talked about work, traffic, food, never about why he was there. Meanwhile, Emily moved louder. Celebration dinners, new clothes, photos carefully framed to show success and hide cracks. Inside her company, deadlines slipped. Vendors complained. A former client quietly asked if things were still stable. Michael heard fragments through coworkers who thought they were sharing harmless gossip. He never commented. At night, he ran numbers in his head, not for revenge, but for clarity. He remembered the systems she rushed, the controls she ignored, the warnings she waved away. The woman offering the couch noticed the weight he carried. She did not pry. She invited him to dinner. They walked afterward through quiet streets, sharing silence without pressure. One night, she told her father lost everything chasing status, said she trusted people who stayed steady when no one was watching. Something began to settle inside Michael. Across the city, pressure mounted. The board asked questions, meetings multiplied, emails leaked. One evening, his father called, the first time in months, asked how the year was going. Michael replied only that it hurt. His father replied that pain clarified what contracts never could, then said the year was almost over. Michael ended the call and stared at the wall. He understood then that the bet had never been about money. It was about who stayed when there was nothing impressive to offer. And time finally started moving. The days that followed felt unnaturally quiet. Michael sensed something breaking beneath the surface, even if he could not name it yet. At work, conversations softened when he passed. People had already chosen who he was in the story, and he let them believe it. Across the city, Emily no longer smiled in meetings. Confidence sharpened into impatience. Simple requests were answered with irritation. Deadlines slipped. Reports stopped aligning. Internal emails leaked. Screenshots circulated in private chats. A remark here, an excuse there. Nothing dangerous on its own. Everything damning when placed together. Michael recognized every flaw, every rushed decision, every warning he had offered and watched be dismissed. He felt no satisfaction. Only the quiet certainty that accounts always come due. In the borrowed apartment, the air was different. Simple dinners, low voices, silences that did not hurt. She sat beside him without asking when he planned to leave. That alone was enough. One night, Michael told her everything: his father, the name, the silent agreement, the review that made the deal possible. She listened without interruption. When he finished, she said money never fixed character. Something firm settled in his chest. A few days later, his phone rang early, a number he had not seen in nearly a year. It was his father. He said the audit was scheduled, said Michael should be there, not to speak, only to witness. The building was glass and quiet. Security nodded as Michael entered, as if they expected him. Upstairs, a long table waited. Screens glowed with spreadsheets and timelines arranged with care. Emily arrived late. Her heels cut sharply across the floor. She smiled until she saw Michael. The smile froze. Her eyes searched his face for explanation. He offered none. The questions began gently: project progress, budget usage, promised milestones. Emily's answers drifted. A man to her left frowned. Another typed without looking up. Then the screen changed. Missed deadlines, inflated numbers, commitments recorded without delivery. The room grew heavy. Someone asked who approved the original strategy. A name appeared: Michael's father, then Michael's. Emily turned fully toward him. Her voice cracked once. She said it was a setup, said Michael had betrayed her. The room did not respond. The chair of the board spoke calmly, said the contract allowed review, said misrepresentation carried consequences, said stepping down was procedure, not punishment, said legal would handle the rest. Emily stood slowly. Her chair scraped too loudly. Papers remained on the table. She looked at Michael like she was seeing him for the first time, not the man on the porch, someone unmoved. Michael left before she could speak. In the elevator, his reflection looked older, not bitter, clear. Outside, the city moved on. People laughed, cars passed. No one knew that a collapse had just occurred floors above, and the silence that began on the porch finally closed the circle. The fallout moved quickly but quietly. Official statements spoke of restructuring, internal review, and procedural adjustments. Emily's name faded from press mentions, from invitations, from rooms where it once carried weight. Michael did not follow the details. He did not need to. His life had already shifted somewhere else. Weeks later, he left the borrowed couch and moved into a small apartment of his own. Nothing impressive. Clean walls, morning light through a single window, a door that opened because someone wanted him there. The woman who had offered him shelter stayed, not because of the audit, not because of revelations or consequences. She stayed because she chose Michael when he had nothing to prove. They cooked together, disagreed without cruelty, laughed at ordinary things. One evening, Michael told her everything: the name he walked away from, the power he refused, the year of silence. She listened, then said character mattered most when no one was watching. Months later, his father offered everything back: access, influence, shortcuts. Michael neither rushed to accept nor rejected it out of pride. He chose a quiet role, work where discipline mattered more than image, where decisions were made carefully, not loudly. People listened to him, not because of where he came from, but because he understood where systems break and how to keep them standing. Sometime later, he ran into Emily by chance, a neutral hallway, no audience. She looked tired, smaller. She tried to speak. Michael nodded politely and kept walking. There was nothing left to explain. What ended Emily was not him. It was impatience, pride, the belief that the man beside her was invisible. Michael learned something simple: Real power does not announce itself. It waits, it watches, and when it finally stands, it does not shout. Being underestimated is not a curse, it is cover. While some chase applause, others build quietly. When the truth arrives, it does not come with revenge, it comes with peace. If this story reminded you of someone who stood by you before success arrived, share it in the comments. Your words may reach someone who needs them. And if you believe character always outlasts applause, follow the channel. Here, stories prove that truth may take time, but it always arrives.